Happy Homebrew Wednesday, folks. Ryan Patrick Murphy here, enjoying a little homebrew honey kolsch. Oh man, that is good. That is tasty. It is refreshing. A little bit of bitterness in there, but not too much. You can sit out on the porch on a hot day and just drink this. Came out to be a good one. Just a few updates here. The fermenters are empty. I am out of fermenting beer. There's nothing in secondary, nothing in primary. I bottled the IPA, the all grain IPA that I did on Monday, so that is conditioning at this point. Not sure how that one's going to turn out, but I did take a taste, and I didn't have any of those fusel alcohols that I was afraid I was going to have because I thought I cooked the yeast a little bit, I'm hoping that the next day when I threw extra yeast in it helped, or that it really was, maybe it wasn't as warm inside the fermenter as I thought it was. It may take time. Plastics and insulator and the little stick-on thermometers. It may take time for that bucket, the plastic bucket, to actually have the temperature of the stuff that's inside. I don't know, but I think it's going to come out okay. We'll find out in a couple weeks. I'm going to try some this weekend, of course. It won't be carbonated worth crap, probably, but it's worth, just to see how the flavor is and make sure that it's not terrible. And I think I'm going to end up putting a couple bottles of that into the Iowa State Fair homebrew competition, along with a couple bottles I have of the Ale-toberfest. Just see how things have gotten. I will try. I bottled 4 bottles of the Ale-toberfest. And so I only need to have 2 for the competition, so I'm going to probably open one Friday night, if I remember to put it in the fridge, and then I'll try one right before I take it down. And or maybe I'll try the other one when they actually do the competition, so that I can kind of see, I know exactly what it tastes like when they have it, assuming the bottles are semi-consistent, which I would hope they would be. Well, anyway, talk to my buddy Corey, our homebrew buddy. You guys have met him before, and he's showing me his hops. So I got some video here for that, and that will conclude Homebrew Wednesday. So cheers, 17. We'll see you next week. Stay tuned for some interesting hop stuff here.
So, starting from the right, we have Goldings.
Okay.
Which should be relatively decent. Now we have Columbus, so that one's really taken off in the last week here. Don't have too much growth on them. I didn't get these planted until early May time frame, so these have only been going for about a month, and with them being first year, they're not expecting too much out of them, but just kind of letting them go and keeping them watered and fertilized to allow them to increase their root structure.
I like your setup here with.
Yeah, I was debating between whether I wanted to do a trellis system and then have them go horizontal across my yard, but with the way that the sun goes and having 5 different plants, it would have been quite an impressive trellis system, and mowing around it would have really been a pain. So I decided to do them almost kind of like a hop topiary. So if you look at these, I actually have them just going up and around, and I think by the end of most of these, the total length that they could potentially climb is somewhere around 25 feet. So that should be plenty of height for them to grow. Also, keeps it nice and compact, and I can always take this down a little bit easier than having to store an entire trellis system across the side of my house. And
sure,
they're in containers, so then they can be moved semi-easily later on.
And you don't need a ladder.
As of right now, I do not need a ladder. I had to use a step stool to get the very top portions, but that's just because they were just out of reach. We'll see how it goes come harvest time, but
It's just standard twine.
Yep, just your standard baling twine, nice and fibrous. They love to grab onto just about everything, and it's amazing how much once they've taken off, they just started taking off recently here in about the last week or two. We had quite a few nights where it was getting down into the mid 30s, and they just weren't growing too much at that point. But the last week we've been gaining a couple inches per day, and been having to come out here, come out on my lunch hour, train them up the wire, and then have to train them some more when I get home. But we'll see how far they grow. Them being
So what are these last three?
so, these last three are Chinook, Centennial, and Cascade. The Centennial, you look at that, it's really taken off. I have a lot of bines that I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to train them. I've been trying to keep it to just 2 bines per single piece of string, but at the same time, kind of debating if I want to put up another line and just let them grow out this entire year, and just kind of forgo the harvest, but allow it to gain its root structure. So we'll see. With them being first year, I'm not expecting a huge harvest, but a few ounces would be kind of nice. Maybe do a harvest ale come fall and just use all these in one nice addition for a wet hop, or we'll see.
Cool.
It'll be interesting. And the last one is the Cascade.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, this looks like a pretty good way of doing this. And you can move them if you need. I mean, not easily, but you could still move them
Right.
rather than having to dig them back out. And
They're pretty heavy, but they're still mobile at this point, so I can still put them on a hand truck, and I've actually had to move them out a little bit. I found with the trees that we have overhead, I had some issues with sun, especially in the later parts of the afternoon, but you know, they're doing relatively well.
thanks for showing them to us.
Oh, my pleasure.